Good morning, Philadelphia Eagles fans, and good morning, NFL fans, for another week of Philadelphia Eagles football, where this week is a battle of two first-place teams. Our Eagles going against the Carolina Panthers down in North Carolina. And really what is going to be a battle to see what team is for real going forward into the middle of this season. Now, last week was a good game for both teams. Starting with Carolina. Carolina actually went to Seattle and played a becoming more desperate Seattle team that wants to prove that they're ready to repeat and go to the Super Bowl 3 years in a row. Carolina actually showed some resolve, came back with a late touchdown pass from Cam Newton to Greg Olsen and win 27-23 in Seattle, which is not something that happens on a regular basis. But for our Eagles, we played at home against the New York Giants. And there was a lot of questions about what team was going to show up. Was going to be a team that's filled with a lot of mistakes? Was it a team that's starting to get to gel and roll? And I'll tell you what, in the beginning, it looked not so promising. Where the Giants just drove right down the field and scored on their first possession. Odell Beckham Jr. effectively silenced the crowd. But after that, the Eagles answered with 27 straight points to win the game 27-7. Now, there's some questions on both teams, both sides of the ball. Carolina's coming into this game injured. Shaq Thompson, one of the biggest names that's injured for Carolina. Carolina also has questions on offense. Calvin Benjamin's going to be out for the entire season. They're wondering how they're going to replace his productivity that he showed last year, a very promising rookie year. But they found a way. They have found a way to come together and start the season 5-0, and nobody saw that coming. Nobody did, myself included. So hats off to them for working with what they have and being successful at it, which comes off the arm of Cam Newton. Cam Newton has been very effective this year so far, dishing the ball out to different people, Stewart running. It's been a very successful year so far for them. When you're undefeated, you can't really complain too much. For our Eagles, we've had a very up and down season. Very up and down season. We've had very poor halves of football that have not translated into wins. We've had a poor full game against Dallas. We've had some games where we looked absolutely dominating against the Saints, against the Giants, but we still have made lots of mistakes and left a lot of points on the board. So this week we go down to Carolina. There's two teams. One, it's kind of like a consensus, I believe, at least listening here in Philadelphia, a lot of people believe that Carolina has overachieved and Philadelphia has underachieved. Well, the records prove it. We're 3-3, they're 5-0. So, regardless, right now, statistically, they're better than us. That's why we get to prove it. To beat Carolina, let's not get into that yet. As I promised, every week I want to highlight something, and this week we go down to Carolina, and I have to rely on another military friend of mine, Ron, that gave me the heads up on if you're an Eagles fan traveling down to this game, where to go. He said, go to the Epicenter. Something that's not too far from the stadium, and it looks like it's a better version of what we have at Xfinity Live down there, where we're trying to bring some things together and have a kind of cool of an atmosphere, but this place seems like it has shopping, it has entertainment, it has all sorts of stuff. He also gave me a heads up saying that the tailgating there is a lot different, where people open up, it's like more spread out, and people have even their own driveways opened up and allow people just to tailgate all over the place and then walk up to the game. I know we do tailgating here, but he said it's a different feel down there. So if you're an Eagles fan, go down there with an open mind. Of course, don't be a jerk. You might be tailgating in somebody's home driveway. Show Philly love down there, but enjoy the experience and let me know what you see down there. I'd love to learn more about Carolina. I used to live in South Carolina when I was in the Navy, but let me know what you see down there in North Carolina. And I'll post the website you can go. It's probably epicenter.com or something. But thanks a lot, Ron, for your heads up. I appreciate it. But back to football. How do you beat Carolina? Yeah, it seems simple. I mean, the game plan is simple, but it's hard to do. You're going against Cam Newton, probably the most athletic quarterback in the NFL. That when he's on, he's on. We had success with him, beating him last year, but you can't really rely on all the turnovers that we had last year, all the special teams help we had last year. We sacked Cam Newton 9 times, and it became very lopsided very, very quick. At one point in the fourth quarter is 45-7? You kind of can't rely on such a lopsided victory like that. But what you can do is say, okay, this is what we did. We spied Cam Newton with kind of borrowing. We got pressure on him, but we also made sure that we maintained our lane. So when things did break down, he wasn't able just to run all over the place. For the most part, we did contain Calvin Benjamin. Now, Funches is his replacement somewhat because he's injured. Calvin did score twice last year, but it was at the end of the game. But how do we match up against, guys like Greg Olsen? How do we match up against their running game against Stewart? I mean, there's a lot of questions there, but our run defense has done very well. Fletcher Cox has been absolutely amazing this year. Jordan Hicks has been playing lights out for a rookie linebacker. And really, our biggest question mark has come with our biggest free agent, with Byron Maxwell, and all the holding that he's done. So that's how you really attack their offense with their defense. You got Luke right in the middle. Every team wants a Luke. Every team. I'm not going to say that anything negative about the guy. He's just probably one of the best linebackers we have in the game. And you got to watch where he's at, or who he's spying, and who he's going after. He's going to match up against like our Darren Sproles, and he's going to match up against our guys, our tight ends in the middle, Zach Ertz and Brent Selleck. He's the quarterback of the defense. For us, though, it's very, very simple what we got to do on offense and defense. And I'm glad I'm not talking about special teams, because it seems like Sturgis has calmed down. But first, we got to start on defense. Real simple. Byron Maxwell, you got to stop holding. We're paying you lots of money. Paying you lots of money to be our number one. You got to be more like our number one. Yeah, we've done actually pretty well, but you can't have these holding penalties. You can't. You can't keep having those mistakes. You can't keep giving away first downs and allowing for other teams to sustain drives. We held the Giants to 7 points last week. It seems like he could be called for holding on a lot of penalties. Byron, you gotta play a little different, so it gives us a better shot to win. For the rest of the defense, we've done very well. Our linebackers have done very well. Michael Kendricks looks like he'll be coming back this week. D'Amico Ryan should be playing. Our D-line has been lights out, so I really have nothing to say about that. Nolan Carroll with a touchdown last week. That was awesome. But for offense, I mean, yeah, Josh Huff has to play because Nelson Aguilar is out, and I want him to do well. But 2 guys are on my radar. I mean, and of course we always know about Darren Sproles, but 2 guys are definitely on my radar. Sam Bradford and Jordan Matthews. First start with Jordan. Jordan, you got to hold on to the ball. There's no other way of saying it. You want to be great, you got to have ball security. That's the most basic thing that you need to do as a wide receiver. Hold on to the football. Catch the ball, and when you have the ball in your hands, hold on to it. And Sam, I like that you want to have confidence in your receivers and your tight ends. You can't keep having red zone turnovers and interceptions. That's one of the biggest reasons I believe we gave away Nick Foles. I mean, he would chuck it up there. I get it. But you got to be smarter than that. There's a lot of times I've seen even the check down. Sometimes you have to take the check down. You can't always go for the home run and go for Darren Sproles out of the backfield. I did like what I saw out of DeMarco Murray. And it seemed like there was a couple runs in the late third or fourth quarter that he turned it up. He didn't hit the hole halfway. He went 100%, and he had a 100-yard game. So I'm also looking at DeMarco Murray stepping up and being our true number 1 running back. So this week, we go down to Carolina to really prove that we're for real. Yes, we are one of the 2 3-3 first place teams, in the NFL. We don't want to maintain there, and we don't want to make this a race in the NFC East. It's time to start pulling away. And what better way to show that you're real in the NFL than to go down into somebody else's undefeated home and come away with the win. So let's go Birds, let's go down to Carolina and come home with a win. Go Birds. E-A-T-L-E-S Eagles! Beat Carolina.